There, we're live. Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the show with no name because we couldn't think of a name. Yeah, you you all know me, and there is my co-host.
Hello.
Give yourself an introduction.
Uh, I am I am Tyler. Uh, though on Twitch I tend to go by Wizard Actor, so we'll just go with that.
Okay. Now, if you were one of the two people who was on, who was online, when we did our last show, we discussed some things related to zombies throughout various media. But today we are going to be talking about something a little more controversial, specifically the ending of the console wars. Now, I'm very familiar with with the topic. My co-host here has shown that understands the general gist of what's happening, but not the specifics. So, any questions before we start talking?
Nope.
Okay. Well, so for those of you, you in the audience, who are unfamiliar, the console wars is basically the term given, to the competition between the major gaming development studios, trying to outsell each other with their consoles of the current generation. It started it started as a matter of Nintendo, Sega, and Atari, but then Atari died and crashed the video game market. Nintendo and Sega, yeah, were there to maintain everything. Then Nintendo and Sega had both experimented with making game consoles that used discs instead of cartridges because that would allow for more storage. But that ultimately led to the company they were working with developing Sony with the PlayStation, and so it ended up being Nintendo, Sega, and PlayStation. But then Sega stopped making consoles, and then Microsoft started developing consoles in the form of the Xbox. So it became primarily about PlayStation and Xbox against each other, with Nintendo off to the side as the one that more or less was just there because they were unkillable. Now that is more or less the background on what the console wars are. And recently, the console wars have more or less come to an end. But to look into that, what were the factors of the console war as the current metric? Well, the standard parts are, for starters, exclusive games. The primary reason why you would buy a console, other than what the console itself is capable of, is what games that console can play. Because PlayStation, being the perfect example, has a lot of games that they make and only let the rights be used so that only PlayStation can sell them. And play them on a PlayStation. So, if you wanted to play, say, Ghost of Tsushima, you would have to be using a PlayStation. But Nintendo was even more rigid with their exclusives. Like, you'll never see a Mario game on a PlayStation or an Xbox. Well, I mean, you've seen Sega games on Xbox, but beyond that, Xbox is the only one that really kept their games exclusive. Because they would always let the other systems use their games, like Halo or. Trying to think of other Xbox games. Halo's the only one that comes to mind. You got any? Yeah, exactly. You can get these games on other consoles because Xbox never strong-armed the rights so that they could only keep them on Xbox. So that meant Xbox was always a little bit behind in the console wars because there was never that real push to get them for their games specifically, even though Xbox had great games.
Right.
In addition to that, the other major thing pushing it is that video games have become increasingly more expensive. Yeah, yeah. Where at this point, $50 for a game on release is standard, but also they never sell the game full. They constantly have updates and even DLC that you have to continue to buy to get the full game. Looking at you, EA. But now it's basically been confirmed that all consoles of the next generation are going to be charging $80 per game. On on the start, and
That is,
that's just crazy. $80 for a game.
it is. Like,
Yeah,
I, I honestly can't believe it myself. Like, game inflation is becoming such a big issue. Like, um,
and the worst part is it's not even really inflation. It's just them charging more because they know people will buy more. Inflation is related to supply and demand. If there's more demand for a limited supply, the price goes up. Or if there's a lower supply for the same demand, prices will go up. For this, the supply and demand are both increasing, but they're just charging more because they know they can, which normally I'm okay with, but this is just ridiculous.
tell me about it. Uh,
It
me and
perfect example. Probably my favorite game of all time. Yeah, has since the first day I ever played a video game has always been Skylanders Spyro's Adventure. The Skylanders games had the perfect reason to be expensive because you weren't just buying the disc for the game. You also had to buy the attachment with the portal of power so that power, and the starter pack always came with 3 Skylanders. So you're not just buying a disc, you're buying 3 figures and an attachment. So, and if I remember correctly, each of the starter packs, the base starter packs, you know, cost like I think they cost $80. But they had every reason to charge that much. Nowadays, you don't even get the manual.
yeah, that's just sad. It's real
Yeah.
sad because you know the real sad part about it is I really, really, really wanted to play Skylanders, but I never had the console, nor the attachments, nor anything to play the games, and I just feel
I mean,
so
Skylanders was available on various consoles.
well. I didn't have those various consoles. All I had was a PlayStation 3.
It was on
My
PlayStation 3.
Well, we didn't have the attachments for it. We just had the
Yeah,
PS3. We didn't even have the game. We didn't have anything. And for the audience,
yeah.
yes, my family was too poor to afford 2 consoles. None of my friends at the time even had Skylanders. What was I supposed to do? Steal them? I would have, but I know the consequences of stealing.
Yeah. Okay. But
Anyway, that was unnecessary.
for reference, if you ever want to look into trying to get stuff now, to play it, eBay is definitely the cheapest place you can find it for. Find it. I
Fun
looked on
fact:
there not too long ago. Okay.
I
Uh,
I wanted to play Guitar Hero last year, so I found this on eBay.
nice.
Yeah, it's one of those Les Paul guitars that came with Guitar Hero 3 when it first came out for the 360.
Nice.
And I really, really don't like how things are going with this day and age of gaming because things are just getting ridiculous. Like as you said, prices
True.
are going high, and they're like even the older consoles like the Xbox One or the 360 or the Nintendo Wii for an extent, you can't find them anymore without spending like $120 on it, which is just crazy. Uh, but that is just how I see it.
Yeah, but but like I was saying, last time I checked on eBay, I was able to find a Nintendo Wii and all of the stuff that you had to play Skylanders for like $30. Yeah,
Well,
so genuinely, I'd check there if you're still interested. But but to get back on topic, so as I stated, the primary factors with the console wars were the exclusive games and prices, because for the longest time Xbox was still charging the lower prices because they didn't need to charge the higher prices, because primarily Xbox was always kind of a brand that was losing the company money, but because it's owned by Microsoft, they didn't really have anything to worry about too much with profits. It was mostly just a name kind of thing. They were getting better reputation.
yeah,
Yeah, but going yeah, but going and that's also why they were never too exclusive with their games. Of course, nowadays it's but thing is, a new thing came into play that's really what's leading to the console wars turning down, and that's PC gaming. Specifically, the major player in PC gaming, Steam. For those of you who don't know, Steam is the primary source for getting games on PC. Yeah, for both buying and storing your games so that you can run them. And PlayStation immediately made a deal with Steam to let them play PlayStation games on PC, because PlayStation immediately saw people were becoming divided amongst either whether they're a console gamer or a PC gamer. So by being able to sell to both markets, they were able to make much more money off their games. Especially because it doesn't matter if you're a PC gamer or a console gamer. Ghost of Tsushima was awesome.
yeah.
Uh, okay, yeah, but one second, 1 second. Let the voices die down. No, no, don't be here. It's fine. Okay, but okay, where was I? All right. Okay, so sorry. It's okay. But okay, where was I? All right, so PlayStation was selling their games to Steam, but then Xbox did the most insane thing possible. They set up their design for their next gen console. Except the only thing is, it's not a console at all. It's a gaming PC that's optimized to play on TVs. Meaning, the primary way you're going to be getting games for this console is Steam. Which means Xbox now has access to all the PlayStation exclusives. And PlayStation always had access to the Xbox exclusives. Which means they've effectively taken out the exclusive games part of the console wars.
Yeah.
Add that into the fact that Xbox also gave way to the fact that all games in the future are going to be costing a minimum of $80 on release. That effectively means most factors of the console wars are gone. So so not only is there no pricing arguments here, because they have no incentive to lower their prices because they're all basically cooperating, but also there's no the only real reason at this point to go for one console over the other is the actual mechanics of the console itself, which leads us perfectly to the biggest infringement of the console wars of all time. You want to take a guess as to what that is?
What is that?
The Nintendo Switch 2.
I.
Yeah, genuinely. It's just like Nintendo decided to just fully take the mask off and and show that that they just despise the fans these days. Ever since the last ever since the last guy who was running the company died.
Satoru Iwata,
Yeah, Iwata. That guy was great.
best Nintendo president in my opinion.
The original guy was pretty good, but Iwata set the standard for what they should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he said that one in that one demonstration. On his business card, he's a gaming president. Yeah, yeah, yeah. In his mind, he's a gaming developer. In his heart, he's a gamer. Yeah, he was just
Yeah.
doing what was best for the fans and as such, and also the workers. But now Nintendo is just trying to basically tell the fans that we suck. Here, let's go over all the problems with the Nintendo Switch 2. First off, again, games are now $80 each, which
That's
is a
that's just
problem,
too
but
much.
but everyone's doing it, so I can at least give them the benefit of the doubt on that one. But
Two.
there's the there's the fact that
Two
if you don't,
cards.
sorry, what was that?
Game keys.
Oh, that
Oh
I
my
was saving
god.
that for last.
It.
I was saving
Like
hey, I was saving that for
okay.
last because it's the worst part.
Okay. Let's just okay, what was the second thing you were gonna say?
The second thing is how if you make any modifications, download any mods, or do any adjustments to the console itself that aren't officially endorsed and licensed by Nintendo, they soft lock the entire console.
I don't
So
even
you could spend what is it on that they're charging for the Nintendo Switch 2 again? Here, let me Google it.
$450. That's how much they're selling it for. $450.
And yeah, $450. And I imagine they charged extra for pre-order. You could pay $450 for a console, and realize the game has a little bit of a textural issue. Realize there's some fans made a mod to fix the texture so it looks a little bit better. Download it, and then suddenly the console just doesn't work because Nintendo saw that you downloaded a mod.
That
And
right
of course,
there.
I imagine they're going to do the same. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, you go ahead.
Okay, I imagine they're going to do the same thing that Apple does, where if you get it repaired at a non-official, Nintendo licensed place, they also do the soft lock thing. Like if you get the screen replaced.
Yeah, I. Oh my god, Nintendo,
Okay.
what is going on? And then
Oh, well, you're at this point, so I say we give them the worst part about the Switch 2 of all,
the
the
game.
game keys.
Okay,
so
I am gonna go full out on this because I think this is a feature that I absolutely despise. So,
yeah,
like, they made it clear before the Switch 2 came out that they were trying to pull off the same stupid crap with Ubisoft. Oh, you don't own your games anymore. And they basically did that. And, like, for example, if you were to buy Street Fighter 6 on the Switch 2, you would only get a game key, which allows you to access that game only if you download it from that card. And pretty much it's you don't own it, you can't do anything about it. Now, if you were to go over to, let's say, Cyberpunk 2077, that is a little different because that is the full game right there. They allow you to actually have that game instead because CDPR is kind of like, oh, well, you bought the game, you have it, it's yours, enjoy it. But Nintendo is just pretty much like, oh, you bought this game. Well, guess what? You don't own the game. You own the key to that game, which I think is just really stupid. And honestly, it's one of the it's one of the worst, if not the worst thing about the Switch 2. But hey, at least you get to experience titles like Donkey Kong Bonanza, which I am not going to be playing.
Hey, you
because
get to beat your chest like
$3.
Donkey Kong by moving your controllers. That's their main selling point. Okay,
Yeah.
but here, let me just run that by real quick to make sure, a little bit more concisely to make sure everyone understands how ridiculous this is. Nintendo, like many game companies these days, have been trying to deviate away from physical media so they can control what you have at what times to get you to keep spending money. So, most of what they're doing these days is based around either downloading the games, yeah, yeah, online. But if you do these days, you can still buy physical media. You just have to download from the discs. And as annoying as that is, at least you have the physical media, right? Well, Nintendo's taking it a step further. When they sell you the physical game, they're not selling you a game. They're sending you a key to a sorry. And when you put it into the console, it isn't the game. It's just a referral to a link to download the game from online. Meaning, if you buy the game, you're not buying the game. You're just buying permission to download it online. And once more, there's it's just that the company's trying to say you don't own the games just because you bought them.
Which leads to a rather common comment that I've seen around YouTube. If buying isn't owning, then pirating isn't stealing.
What if stealing it? If buying isn't owning, stealing is a piracy. Yep, it's a good saying. Only problem is I don't know how to pirate games.
Neither do I.
Genuinely, I don't know how piracy works on these things. I mean, is there a special website you're supposed to go to? I don't want to Google it because I don't know what if that would put me on a watch list or something.
Well, I think it's
Is there
best
like a
to
shady
that there
a
is
shady
some
guy in a
sort,
back alley that you're supposed to go to and ask him?
much like that one episode in Big Bang Theory when Howard, Leonard, and Raj tried to buy different tickets for Comic Con. Like basically trying to
Oh
buy them.
yeah. And then Sheldon just went to talk to the guy who voices Darth Vader because he was
Yeah.
going to be because he was trying to open up his own Comic Con, and then he just ended up hanging out with Darth Vader the entire day.
Yep.
Hey, James Earl
But
Jones seemed like he was having a great time that day.
yeah. Rest easy, James.
Oh, that's so much better. I just adjusted the camera settings so that now we're in widescreen. Now you can see me talk with my hands.
Yeah, that's so much better. I can definitely see that.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, so that's basically how the console wars ended. With PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam becoming basically the Triforce of saying screw you to the fans. And and Nintendo realizing people will buy their games no matter what because they're Nintendo. So they just went full authoritarian. We can do whatever the heck we want because we're Nintendo. I mean, it makes sense why they'd think that. I mean, they beat out Sega, they beat out Capcom. Ugh. And now they're the only game company that has exclusive games.
I lost my respect for Nintendo months ago.
Months?
Like before the Switch 2 came out, when I heard all of the things that okay. I have to do some.
Okay, take your time. Okay, on that note, I'm not sure whether to do like an intermission until he gets back, but Yeah, problems with doing with being early on into starting on into streaming. Since I'm more used to just doing actual pre-recorded videos and posting on YouTube. I usually would just edit this part out, but now I have to actually keep it going. How to do this? Okay, on that note, I think I'm going to change the topic a bit while we're waiting for him to get back, so we don't go over the same topics multiple times. Okay, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be I'm going to be talking going to be talking about and giving you guys my opinions on some and this one I found earlier this month, but it's probably one of my all time favorite martial arts movies. It's a Korean movie called Officer Black Belt, which sounds like the name of a cheesy a cheesy karate movie from the 90s. But in reality, the main character doesn't even do karate. Here, let me see if I can find the description of it real quick. Here it is. Okay. Now I'm gonna read the description, real quick here for the movie. It came out in 2024, and and the description of the movie is: a talented martial artist who can't walk past a person in need unites with a probation officer to fight and prevent crimes as a martial arts officer. Now, the general idea of the movie is basically this: the main character, who's sorry, get pull it up again because I forgot his name. I struggle with Korean names. Okay, they don't say his name in the description, so I'm just going to refer to him by his actor's name, Kim Woo Bin. So the main character, Kim Woo Bin, is a young guy who's as he puts it, does what only does things that he considers fun. Yes, and that means two things for him: esports and martial arts. And the reason he likes martial arts is because he always wins. And we find out he does three martial arts: judo, taekwondo, and kendo, all of which he's ranked third dan, or third degree black belt. Now compare that to me, who in real life the high only martial art that I've achieved any rank in is my main one, karate, Shotokan specifically. Where I'm only a brown belt, first degree brown belt. So naturally, that just means this guy is really good, especially if you remember he's in South Korea, and they take these things pretty seriously there, especially Taekwondo. And they don't specify which style of Taekwondo it is, be it WTF or ITF. That's World Taekwondo Federation or International Taekwondo Federation, where WTF is yet is the style that you would see in the Olympics, whereas international is yeah more based around yeah it's the actual martial art of Taekwondo. Where it's fully everything in the style. From from use of the knees and elbows, elbows to the throws, joint locks, all that. Think of it kind of like the difference between sport karate and traditional karate. So, and of course, judo and kendo are the same no matter where you go. Well, I mean, modern sport judo is pretty different than classical, but okay, moving on because I'm getting off topic here. Basically, yeah, he has a run-in where he sees a parole officer trying to take in a suspect, who violated parole. They're fighting. Yeah, he's letting the guy up, saying, "Look, come on, I won't cuff you. Just come quietly with me. This we don't have to make a big deal of this." He lets the guy up. Guy pushes him away, grabs a bottle and breaks it over his head. So our main character, Kim Woo Bin, walks over. Separates them, knocks him out with an Asoto Gari where he slams his head to the back of his head into the ground. He actually gets an award for this because he saved a cop's life. And he's brought in and asks, and a guy asks, who works on the force asks him, "Would you like to join us while he's recovering? Because we're pretty short staffed." And he explains the martial arts officer program. Basically, parole officers in South Korea are either aging or working, or are overworked due to not having much resources. And both things are very detrimental when you account for the fact that South Korea, even the law enforcement apparently, don't get guns. Or at least maybe it's just the probation officers that don't get guns. I'm actually not too familiar with Korea, and their laws. But meaning they have to physically apprehend everyone they go to. So they started hiring martial artists, as a way of assisting the probation officers for both the safety of the probation officers and to increase success rates among arrests. And his first question is it fun? And the guy just goes, "Well, I mean, fun can mean different things for different people. I think it is because you're doing good, and you're helping keep people safe." And the very next thing he asks is it cool? And the guy just leans in and just says, "Yeah, it's pretty cool." The movie had me sold right there, but going further into it, yeah, there's there's a bunch of of scenes in the movie where we get to see plenty of martial arts action, and in my opinion, as a lifelong martial artist, it's pretty accurate. There's some points where people do some pretty dumb stuff in the midst of fighting, but that's pretty understandable. People do dumb stuff in the heat of adrenaline all the time. Like I remember one point in the final fight scene, the bad guy has a meat cleaver. The main character picks up a steel bucket. He blocks the cleaver with it. Swings it to the side. Guy's still holding the cleaver, and he throws the bucket at him. That's the only way you can block that weapon, or even potentially disarm it. Maybe catch it in the side and then twist. But now you don't have it, but he still has his weapon. Ugh. But there are some points but there are some points where it gets pretty crazy with the violence. Like in one of the major fight scenes, yeah, about I'd say a little bit over halfway through the movie, if I remember correctly. There's a fight scene where a guy takes a baseball bat to the head and then blood just starts pouring down his face. And then he tackles a guy, yeah, the guy who did it, or one of the people who's fighting alongside that guy, and gets him in an ankle lock and just twists the full way around. Genuinely speaking, when this movie wants to be violent, they're violent. And in addition to that, the fights, there are plenty of fight scenes where multiple people are involved, and they don't do the stereotypical martial arts movie thing of have one guy come in while the rest of them are circled around the guy and don't come in until that guy gets knocked out, and then another guy comes in and he fights that one guy, and then continue that until everyone's down. Genuinely speaking, they managed to keep it, the fighting to it in numbers thing in a way that is both realistic and makes sense for how people would actually be acting. Before this, my preferred example of how this goes was the first Ip Man movie, where there's the scene where he has to fight 10 black belts. They all surround him. But I don't think it's too bad, because the first thing that happens is a guy goes in for a flying sidekick. He catches him, slams him on the ground, and stomps on his face. So yeah, people would probably be pretty hesitant to be the next guy to go in after that. And from there, he's doing positional work throughout the fight so that he's keeping people in front of him, or keeping distance or between people, or keeping people in front of people so that the people behind them can't attack. And the first time that it looks like he's actually getting rushed, he manages to keep all 4 of the guys in front of him so that he can block everything, pretty easily. Okay, I don't actually do that much Wing Chun, so these hand positions probably aren't that accurate. Let's adjust the screen real quick. But in this one, if I remember correctly, there's no scene where a guy gets outright surrounded. There's one scene where the main character gets trapped in a hallway where all of the guys are on one side of the hallway, just about to. I mean, they got weapons, or if I remember correctly, or there might have been the other scene, because there's 2 fight scenes going on at the same time, so it's time. The main character in one case, because he was trailing the bad guy, but got locked into the hallway by the bad guy. And the main character's partner and the officer that he saved earlier in the movie. They got lured into a place where where they got jumped by a bunch of the criminals from the movie and a bunch of extra criminals that are presumably just hired gang members. Except for one guy who definitely had a grudge against this guy specifically because he took him down earlier in the movie. But he might have been paid to. For both of them, it actually makes sense how they weren't getting rushed. Rushed because the main character is in a hallway where all the guys are on one side. There's stuff on the floor, but the first thing he does is take a mannequin's head and throw it into one of the guys at one of the guy's vital spots. You know exactly which one I'm talking about. I'm just not sure if Twitch will let me say it. And from there he's just using the narrow passage of the hallway to start to keep everyone back, especially because this is the perfect point position to start using the longer stretched out kicks that Taekwondo is famous for, primarily the side kick, which is what he does until he picks up a mannequin and starts trying to use that to push people back, and they take it but they rip most of it away from him except for one of the legs. But he realizes the attachment point at the end of it looks like a handle, so he turns it around and starts using it like a shinai, the bamboo practice swords you use in kendo. And from there, it's pretty accurate to how kendo mixed with Taekwondo would work. Especially now, he does do some grappling in the sequence, but I don't think it's judo because kendo has a good mix of grappling into the curriculum. and so what we got what we got here is him managing to keep the positioning to where no they can't use their numbers to take the advantage, and improvising with weapons from the items in the area. It just so happens that one of them was perfect to use because it's basically the exact same as the weapon he's trained with. And then on the other side of things, we got the fight with the partner and and the other guy. It's in a paper mill. So there's a lot of so again, a lot of narrow passageways and a lot of things to block paths. And unlike the main character, whose only real weapon at this point is a pair of tactical gloves, they have tasers. I mean, the main character might have had the taser, but he doesn't use it in the fight, I don't think. They have tasers and pepper spray, I remember being used in this. So they do things like use advantage of the fact that they're smaller than the thugs fighting them to go through the narrow passageways where they get stuck. They use the walls to their advantage, with my absolute favorite bit of this being he uses one guy's body to pin him against another guy against the wall, grabs the guy's head and starts slamming it into the other guy's face, basically forcing him to headbutt him repeatedly. And of course, they end up losing this fight, where the main character wins his, because the main character doesn't give any chance for them to take the advantage. But on the other side of things, they give plenty of chances for it. Both turning their backs to opponents to focus on one guy, which usually leads to them getting attacked. Like that point where the guy gets hit in the head with a baseball bat and then the blood starts pouring down his face. That happens in this scene. It's the officer that the main character saved earlier in the movie. He gets one guy on the ground just punching him, and then he takes the baseball bat to the back of the head. But he keeps fighting. He manages to get the guy down the ground against the wall and just twists his ankle a full 180. And it was cool too. They didn't just do it was a straight up showing how much force he's using to do it by showing him the resistance. Yeah, it was sick. But at the end of the fight, of course, he's getting pinned against the wall, choked, choked and all that. He's borderline comatose at this point in the fight because you try getting hit in the head with a baseball bat and see how well you can fight. The guy takes his taser and starts tasing him in the neck with it. So we got two levels of realism here. Here with it. Okay. And going further with it. After that, there's a fight scene with the main character and the major bad guy of the show, of the movie, where he tracks him down, down into the place where he's doing his villainous things. I'm not going to say what those villainous things are because I know that Twitch will probably instantly ban me if I say it, even if I give the context of it's in a movie. They have their fight. Another guy is helping there, but it's very clear the only reason he has the advantage over any form of ability to face the main character is because he has a knife. Yeah, but he goes down, and main character's fighting the main bad guy, where they've shown main character's a better, is more skilled, but this guy's just more experienced and stronger. He's choking him against the wall like this, and against the this, and the main character, he's struggling, and then I'll admit I actually don't really get what he did in this point, because it's not shot particularly well. I think what he did was he did a foot sweep, causing the guy to fall forward, where he smacked his head against the wall and passed out. And then he goes to save one of the victims. Guy comes up behind him, stabs him in the stomach, and then a couple of actual cops come in and do the dumbest thing possible. This giant guy, is there. First guy says, "Stop or I'll shoot." Guy's walking towards him, so he fires his taser. Guy catches it in his hands, is shocked for a few seconds, and then pulls it out and knocks the cop out. And then the second guy sees this and just again tells him to stop, or he's going to shoot him. And this guy, I think he has an actual gun, but he doesn't shoot until he's already, the guy's already in range to smack the gun to the side and knock him out. And then he escapes. Main character's in the hospital. His partner's got his neck broken, but he's still alive and looks like he'll make a full recovery. The other guy just straight up dies. They said he went into cardiac arrest, probably from the getting tased repeatedly in the neck thing. But I'm surprised they didn't mention that he took a baseball bat to the head. And then from there, main character meets the mother of the victim that he saved, and this further cements that he has to do something in his for him. So he teams up with his friends, to do what they can to save the day. Which starts with going on a shopping spree to buy things to make improvised body armor. And if I remember correctly, I think they got an expandable baton or something. But and then tracking down the guy who presumably, the guy who they had the lead on from earlier in the movie. I didn't mention it because the scene wasn't relevant to talk about. Because I'm trying to avoid telling everything about the movie, because genuinely you should watch it. And from that point, 1 second. Okay, back to to what I was talking about. So they track the guy down, and we got a kind of funny moment where they try to break into the guy's house, but he has one of those electric locks on his door, and so one of the main character's friends tries to bypass the lock by tasing it, saying he saw a video on YouTube on how to do it, and it broke the lock. But it may manage to get in because the guy comes out to see what's wrong with his door, and then they just chase him down. And going forward, they get the information they need, and main character goes to storm the bad guy's place with all his goons. You get another excellent fight scene where they show group combat pretty well, and then the final fight then the final fight, where not going to tell too much about the final fight, but there are a couple major points that I feel are interesting enough to talk about. Like We did get one bit, yeah, where again the main bad guy showed him against the wall like this, and in case you didn't see here sideways, yeah, it's the whole thing where you jam your thumbs into the windpipe to really reinforce the choke, because this doesn't choke, this does, right? This doesn't, this does, and going beyond that, okay, and the main character tries the I think he was a foot sweep thing again, but it doesn't work this time. So he spits some blood into the guy's eye. He takes one hand back to reflexively because if that's a completely normal reaction, and then he grabs the guy's hand, breaks his thumb, and then kicks him away. Or at one point, he's on the ground, the guy's on top of him, and if I remember correctly, I think he's grabbing him. He could be choking him, but the main character's friends are watching from their drone. They realize they need to do something to help him. So the guy piloting the drone lowers it to the level of the guy's face and fully accelerates until it goes and crashes into the guy's face, cutting his face at the eye. And other than that, there's not too much to say about the final fight. And if I remember correctly, after the fight ends, we get the scene of him and all his friends getting an award for saving the day. We see that his partners are out of the hospital, just has a neck brace now, and he meets the victim again, and she's better now, not fully, but now that the guy who did it to her is in prison, she's in a better position. And then the movie ends with him and his partner going back to work as parole officers. And so leading PR. And so other than that, is there any things worth talking about with this movie before I give my final opinions? Well, I do think that the character work in this movie is particularly excellent. We managed to get a good understanding of the main character's friends, despite the fact that they're not in much of the movie until the final sequence. They give us a good reason to care about the main character's partner by giving us his backstory, but they don't just have him come out and randomly say his backstory for no reason. It's a genuine point where we understand him explaining, because he was asked, so why do you want to be a probation officer? By the main character's friends. And of course, the main character is a really likable character because he's understandable, with both his motives and actions. He's likable because he takes the job seriously the second he realizes how important it is. But also, he was never really goofing off or anything. It's you get the understanding of he wants to get into the action of the job. So he kind of goes a little bit fast into it, but he never deliberately goes to any point where he makes a bad decision.
That was funny.
And the main villain of the movie, they set him up in the exact perfect way to be intimidating. Because they could have just done the standard thing of just have him be a really huge guy, and they do that. He's a big guy, but it's understandable. He's tall, and he just got out of prison, so prison. And as you see, plenty of guys who go into prison, they get really big because, well, you need to be strong in prisons. And otherwise you get into bad situations. We'll just leave it at that. Especially people who did his crimes. They generally don't last long in prison. But the added extra things, like the look in his eyes, makes him seem like the kind of guy who's just done things. And they deliberately show you a close-up of his knuckles. They're swollen, calloused, bruised. This guy's been in his fair share of fights, just from that detail alone. And yeah, and as such, they've managed to set up a really intimidating villain. And through the actions of both knowing what his crime is and showing that he's committing it again, and doing so willingly without a hint of hesitation, makes you hate this guy. So it's ultimately an excellent, characterization of a villain, especially because it's something that's universal. He's he's both he's done in a way that makes it him just as good a villain no matter where you are. Yeah, that's something I actually noticed. I remember someone pointing out once. Yeah, a guy saying when I showed him one of these Korean movies, he pointed out he didn't really find the main villain intimidating because he's in America, and the way the movie portrayed it, portrayed the way he kills people. Yeah, I can't remember what the name of the movie was, but it was a thing where the guy would outright confront you, from like 10 to 20 feet away, way before he would go to kill you, and the guy just straight up said he wasn't intimidated because he always carries a gun, and in that particular way, this guy always kills. He would have no reason to be scared of him because, again, gun. But in South, but this guy, throughout the way he does things in the movie, throughout everything that's set up, he has it perfectly done. So there's no reason not to be terrified of this guy. Because at first there's the setup of they can't really do anything because even while he's setting up to do his crimes, he's doing so in a way that makes it to where they can't really get so that he doesn't get incriminated. And okay, and just like that, he's back. So we can continue the talk we are, and this ends my intermission. And if you guys and just to reiterate, if you guys want to watch that movie, it's called Officer Black Belt. It's on Netflix if you want to check it out. Excellent movie. One of my favorites of recent years. Okay, and while you were gone, I did an intermission of telling people about a new movie that I saw. Sorry, I didn't hear that. Check if you're still muted. Still can't hear you. Because her best friend since kindergarten or preschool was just being mean to her and just stopped being her friend. Okay, yeah, there. Hear you now. So the girl is. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now, do you remember where we were? When you went off.
We were talking about something Nintendo related, or like just as a whole related to games. Like,
well, we were discussing the console wars. But it's all the talk I was doing during the intermission kind of threw me off. Okay, let me think. Okay, talked about the console wars, then the Switch 2 and how bad that is. How the Triforce is telling the fans to go screw themselves. Nintendo, showing that they suck since since the one guy died. Okay, it appears I cannot remember where we were, or what we were going into. So, with that, I think we should just take a break and look at break from that and continue on into the second thing we had planned, talking about how game companies have been kind of screwing over the fans as of late, or in general, over the course of things. And here, I'll start with an interesting thing. Do you remember that Lord of the Rings game that came out a while back, where they had the feature where enemies that survived would remember you?
I think I do. Yeah.
Here, I'll look up what the name was real quick.
Wasn't it? Uh, wasn't it Middle Earth: Shadow of Mordor?
It might have been, but I'm checking.
Because I remember that game had a system where enemies would remember you if they were defeated. It was something called the
Yeah,
system.
yeah. Lord of the Middle Earth: Shadow of Mordor with the Nemesis system. Exactly, that's it. The Nemesis system was a brilliant idea that the game created and genuinely would have made a lot of games even better. Like, imagine Ghost of Tsushima, because I talked about how much I like that game. Imagine that with the Nemesis system.
Or, hell, imagine. I don't mean to say it, but imagine this game with that. That would have made it a whole lot better.
Sorry, the glare is keeping me from being able to see what the game is.
Cyberpunk.
Oh, Cyberpunk. Yeah, that would be cool. Okay, but the reason why why we've never seen another game with the Nemesis system? Because the company that made the game patented that mechanic. So no other game company was legally allowed to use the system. So that
They
studio's
still aren't until 2036.
yeah. So the studio that made it patented the system so that only they could use it, and then they just never used it again. So for the next 12 years, wait, it might be 11. I can't remember the
Yeah,
year.
it's 11 years.
11 or 12 years, we most likely will never see the Nemesis system again.
That right there really frustrates me. Because I feel like, okay, I'm going to talk about a little bit about one of their other games.
Yeah.
Bestseller of 2023, Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh yeah, Hogwarts Legacy. I
That
bought
was
the game.
That is a fantastic game, I got to say. I really enjoyed that game, but the fact that they didn't use an enhanced version of the Nemesis system really kind of just threw it away from me. Like, I've never played Shadow of Mordor, but I know the Nemesis system very well, so it's like, it's like, why?
Yeah. And I mean, I would get it if the patent of the system of that mechanic, if they were going to use it themselves, because okay, we made this mechanic, it's going to be our claim to fame. No one else is allowed to use it. But then they just never used it again. So why?
Your guess is as good as mine, man.
Okay, if you want me to guess, let me think. Okay, maybe it's a matter of they just came up with a good system. They knew that other companies would think about using it or something similar, and then they would start games based around it until eventually they realized that they couldn't use it. And then because they had already put resources into the game, they would have to continue because the company wouldn't let them abandon the project. Maybe?
My guess is that Warner Brothers created this system, and the people behind the games department decided, nah, we're not going to let anyone use this. We're going to keep it for ourselves until we decide to mention it, which would be, I don't know, 11 years later, until like 11 years after Shadow of Mordor came out. And
Yeah.
might I mention as well, Monolith Studios actually got shut down by Warner Brothers, which were also the people who were trying to make Wonder Woman, which would have been a great game to play. Because,
a great game to play.
well, I mean, if Warner Brothers wasn't greedy and decided to shut the project down and shut the company down, then people would have probably enjoyed that game to some degree. But
yeah,
as
I will say one thing.
Yeah.
I don't think it's them being greedy, because here, I'll give you an example of why I don't think they're greedy. Amazon Prime, or Amazon in general, gave us the perfect example when they bought James Bond, because they straight up showed it's not a matter of being greedy, it's a matter of being incompetent. Because Amazon straight up confirmed that, well, the lady in charge of Amazon confirmed that when they bought when they bought James Bond, one of the things they were considering doing was making a spin-off about Miss Moneypenny. Let that sink in. They were trying to make a spin-off about James Bond's assistant. Oh, and also when the girl first took over, they were planning on making a series about Conan the Barbarian. She canceled it out because she said it was too full of toxic masculinity, and then immediately started on making a new series instead, even though the series was already far under production. It's not greed, it's incompetence.
So it's just a matter of incompetence rather than greed.
Yeah, if it was greed, they would be making good thing after good thing so they could get as much money as possible. Because genuinely, that Conan series probably would have sold like hotcakes. But you know what other series they've made? Wheel of Time, an adaptation of one of the most brilliant book series ever made, with 15 volumes of a book that's about as thick as my fist. And they ruined it to the point of where nobody watched it. They had to change the way that views were counted and put in glitches into the system to make it look like people watch more of it, just to say that it was being watched more than it was.
Okay, so that's a real case of incompetence.
Yeah. Fortunately, it got canceled after 3 seasons. I just hope the guy making it never works again. You want to know exactly why I hate this guy so much, other than what he did to Wheel of Time?
Why?
One time on Twitter, he straight up said, that his favorite revenge against fans that have a problem with the work that he does is to just make their favorite characters gay.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. I don't say that. Next thing you know, he'll get a job working on a remake of The Passion of the Christ. Yeah, Christ, where he makes Jesus gay.
I don't think Mel Gibson would approve of that.
Mel Gibson would absolutely not approve, but he wouldn't be able to stop it because the studio would be in charge, and Mel Gibson, if he protests, would just get fired. Which, admittedly, he seems like one of the few people in Hollywood who would just take the firing rather than ruin that.
You know, on the topic of let's get back to it, because I have a company that I really wanted to talk about ever since this stream started.
Go ahead.
So, for all of the audience and for you, you know about Activision Incorporated, right?
Unfortunately.
Well, they're making a new Call of Duty game. Surprise, surprise. And I'm not going to buy it because, well, let's be honest, the last game was terrible.
Okay.
I've only played, Black Ops 6. The longest development time of any Call of Duty game, spanning 4 years. 4 years that Treyarch had to work on it, and it seems like they didn't change anything. They just made it seem like Cold War 2.0 because, it felt the same as Cold War, but, it had the addition of Omni movement, which is considered ambitious by a lot of people. I don't consider it ambitious. I mean, I consider it cool that you're able to sprint, slide, and dive in any direction, but what's the point of that if the game is just the same as the previous game? Because
it seems more like an update.
Yeah, not to mention, Treyarch themselves has actually admitted that they don't want to make Call of Duties anymore. If anything, they more than likely want to make standalone games, which Activision is not going to let them do, unfortunately. But, like, okay. I am a big zombies guy, okay?
Yeah.
I
know.
love Call of Duty Zombies ever since I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
And they ruined it. They fully ruined it with Vanguard and Modern Warfare 3. Or as Blame Truth Codfather calls it, Modern Who Cares 3.
Okay, that's funny.
Because, like, okay, you know how Zombies is normally round-based with 4 players going up against endless hordes of the undead?
Yeah, they send wave after wave with you getting a chance to prepare and make set up fortifications in between the rounds.
Yes. Well, Vanguard left the game on life support because it was all objective based for the first 2 maps.
Objective based?
Yes. Each round you had an objective to do, and that was the only way to progress the rounds.
What's his name?
And then they completely I'm sorry for saying this on stream, but they fucked it up with Modern Warfare Zombies.
It's okay. You're allowed to swear as long as you're not saying racial slurs.
Okay, that's good. But they absolutely messed it up with Modern Warfare Zombies. Like, open world zombies sounds like a good idea, but you have to do objectives within 1 hour. Who thought that was a good idea?
Because Brad came in and clocked in.
And might I also mention the fact that Modern Warfare is now a part of the zombie storyline.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, Modern Warfare is now a part of the Black Ops Zombie storyline.
So he got a fucking attitude with Brad, and I guess Brad got an attitude back.
Yeah, let that sink in for a bit.
Brad doesn't care.
And then with Black Ops 6, they promised a return to round-based zombies.
Okay, 1 second. I need some caffeine for this.
Yeah, you go ahead and do that.
Okay. Hit me with it.
Okay, Black Ops 6. Before they released it, they announced that it was going to be the biggest Black Ops experience yet. A good campaign returning to the days of Black Ops 1, which is not true. A multiplayer that was supposed to be fun, but it's not. And the biggest round-based zombies experience that we could possibly get, which they also lied on that because we got, let's see, Terminus, Liberty Falls, Citadel de Mor, The Tomb, Shattered Veil, and The Reckoning, which is 6 maps. They promised more than that, and we didn't get those because of all the hate that the game received. And I don't know if you know this, but they promised that they would not bring any silly skins into the game. Well,
no.
They did. They brought in American Dad, and worst of all, they brought in Beavis and Butthead.
Well, at least Beavis and Butthead is getting remembered.
The game. They're not supposed to use guns. They don't even know how to use guns. It's just like...
True.
And now with Black Ops 7...
Yeah, honestly, this sounds almost as bad as what they did to Rainbow Six.
I have to take a water down the link.
Yeah. Honestly, with Black Ops 7, I'm not playing that game. Even if I have Game Pass, I'm not playing it because I don't care if it takes place in the Dark Ether. I don't care if the old crew came back. That just ruined what Black Ops 4 had in mind. That everything is supposed to come to an end.
Yeah.
But instead, we get Samantha, we get Richtofen, and now we got Dempsey, Nikolai, and Takio back, and now it just... Ugh.
I will say, at the very least, they're still really good at naming characters.
Yeah. And hey, if it's done right, at least they can make a map somewhat atmospheric.
Yeah.
Because
generally, at least the art teams are always good.
Yeah.
They hire talented artists and then they let them do their job. That's generally the best thing that you can do.
Yeah. But I'm gonna set this as an example. The first map, Terminus, is honestly, in my opinion, the best atmospheric map of that game. Yes, it has some annoying mechanics, but otherwise, the map is great because it takes place on a black site in the middle of the Philippine Sea where all kinds of messed up experiments are taking place. And, dimensional rift occurs, zombie outbreak occurs, yada, yada, yada. But, the setting and the atmosphere were great because the map was huge, like the main island and the water surrounding it. So I thought, you know what? This isn't so bad. Maybe they're actually going to do something good with it. Then Citadel came around, and I was like, this isn't really my style. Then the Tomb came around, and I was like, I've lost all hope. I've lost all hope. And then Shattered Veil came around, and I was like, do I even care by this point anymore? It's not zombies. And then The Reckoning comes around, and they add robots to it.
Huh?
Yeah, they added robots to it. Now, it's one thing to add drones, like how Black Ops 3 did with the map Gorod Krovi.
Yeah, because that is a part of modern warfare. And as in actual real-world fighting, uses drones all the time.
Yeah, but it makes no sense to have robots in 1991.
Okay, yeah, that makes no sense.
Like, Treyarch, what's going on in your head?
What is this, Call of Duty Skynet?
Call of Duty Skynet. Yeah, next thing you know, they're going to get Arnold Schwarzenegger and Edward Furlong into it.
Yeah. Okay, but before moving on, to cool you down a little bit, how about this? Favorite song from any Call of Duty game? Mine's always running.
Beauty of Annihilation.
That is a good one. All right. Okay, next way that games have been screwing over, the fans and company. Oh, remember when Nintendo sued the company that made Pal World over the mechanics of throwing a ball-shaped object to capture a creature and releasing that said creature from a ball-shaped object?
Yeah.
Nintendo won that lawsuit, so now the only Nintendo can use any form of mechanic in a game where you throw a ball-shaped object at a creature to capture it and release said creature from a ball-shaped object. Yeah. Do you know how vague that is?
Company. I am... Oh my god. I am... Ugh. Honestly, at this point, I can't deal with Nintendo anymore.
Yeah.
Like, the only reason I'm ever gonna have...
The prototype for PlayStation was actually supposed to be Nintendo. They backed out last minute, so Sony decided to make their own.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier today. That Xbox and PlayStation both were experimenting with disc-based systems.
That's why they didn't. But Nintendo backed out.
Except Sega actually came out first with the Sega CD.
Well, they had the same Saturn too.
The CD was first.
I had a Saturn.
I know.
I could talk video games all day.
Yeah. Okay. Favorite Atari console that's not the 2600?
Whatever grandma had at her house.
2600.
All I played with bowling.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Had to have a brief conversation there.
It's okay. It's just... At this point, I can't deal with the Nintendo anymore. The only reason I would ever have a Switch 2 in my house is because if my sister ever got one for Christmas.
Yeah, I'm probably never going to play one in the first place. The only person I know who's getting a Switch 2 is my buddy Eric, just because he's a video game collector. And because, Odyssey 2.
Wait, what?
Mario Odyssey 2 is going to be on the Switch 2.
They're actually making a second Odyssey game?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Although Nintendo did kind of nuke all the good feelings that the Mario fandom has for them with a recent declaration that they made, where they straight up say, "Turns out Mario and Princess Peach for all these 40 years are just friends."
Are you fucking kidding me?
Language.
It's okay. He can swear on
I'm
Twitch.
joking.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Let that sink in.
Man. I think Dash EXP was right about that. About how Mario would never seem to get himself any poo.
Okay, I wasn't expecting that. But yeah. Not sure how Mario Odyssey 2 is going to go, but that's the thing. Generally, for all the bad things Nintendo does, they do make good games. I mean, Odyssey was great.
So far, it's the only Mario game I've actually finished.
For me, New Super Mario Bros. Wii and the original NES version, but I played it on the Wii because they used to let you download the more old school Nintendo games onto the Wii. But unfortunately, since the Wii got discontinued, we're no longer able to actually play those games.
Well, somehow I still have a digital version of Super Mario Brothers, so if I wanted to, I could go into my SD card menu and play it at any point.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But if I'm being serious, I think I'd rather just play something like the new Super Mario Brothers Wii, which was actually the first Mario game I ever played.
Same for me. Well, actually, no. I played Donkey Kong first because my grandpa's Wii had all of the old Mario games downloaded onto it because he was a really big Mario fan.
I didn't know that. But yeah, it's just I'm sorry, but this whole Nintendo talk, it's just
okay. Here, maybe this will help. Let's finish off by talking about the one Nintendo project that I think might actually be fun to talk about.
Okay.
The Legend of Zelda live-action movie.
Yeah, I
left the second I said that.
Yeah.
But hey, before you say any negative things about its chances, remember the producer is Shigeru Miyamoto himself.
Yeah, I kind of figured that would be the case. I'm not going to say anything negative. I'm just going to say what I think might happen because they are using unknown actors, which I do think is a good step
in
the right direction.
Of course, they actually casted a woman to play Zelda.
Yep. And it's not
That's a good
Zendaya,
sign.
thank the Lord.
Hey, my original casting ideas. Hey, my original casting ideas were Link is played by Nick Cage. Zelda is played by Terry Crews. Ganondorf is played by Danny DeVito. Dingle is played by Dwayne Johnson.
I'm about to crack out into laughter.
Wait. Rivali is played by Larry Bird. Yeah. Mifa is played by Michael Phelps. The Goron champion is played by Brian Shaw. Do you know who that is?
Give me a role that I might know him for.
Oh, he's not an actor. He's just one of the competitors for The World's Strongest Man. It was a joke
Oh.
because it's a joke because one of the main things people know strongman for is just picking up rocks and carrying them places.
Of course.
I'm still saying this though. Nick Cage is Link, and Ganon being Danny DeVito is my favorite thing so far.
Yeah. That's pretty funny.
And of course, Terry Crews playing Zelda would be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. But okay, so with the live action movie, it's being produced by Shigeru Miyamoto himself, and
Yep.
I have two mixed feelings on this. One, he made the Legend of Zelda franchise, so realistically speaking, he knows it inside and out. But on the other hand, he also produced the Super Mario Bros. Movie that was made in the 90s.
Yeah, starring Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo.
Exactly. So realistically speaking, I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt of he knew he wasn't going to be able to make an actual Mario movie with the budget they gave him for that movie, so he just decided to make something fun. Yeah, and say that since he has a massive budget now, he's going to be able to do whatever the heck he wants and make an awesome Zelda movie.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm not sure how this is going to go. So let's talk about how this will happen. What game do you think they're taking the story from? Or are they making an original story?
That's a good question. I would think that.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, taking a story from the games would be the way to go for this. Specifically, I see two options, but I'll give mine after you tell yours.
I'm thinking that one game that they could try to maybe follow through with would be. I don't know. I'm really thinking Ocarina of Time or Wind Waker.
Okay. All right. Now, what I was thinking is there are two real games that would be chosen here. Ocarina of Time or Breath of the Wild. And my logic is, first, let's cut out the games that we know would be a bad choice to adapt. Like Skyward Sword, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, Link's Awakening, or even just the original two Legend of Zelda games. Because the first two had basically no story to adapt. So where we could reference things in it, like before Link goes off on his journey, an old man stops and says, "It's too dangerous to go alone. Take this," and hands him a sword.
Yeah,
But,
that'd be a cool reference.
Yes, but then Link's Awakening is a sequel to A Link to the Past, so we can firmly say it wouldn't be that one. Wind Waker and Skyward Sword are so different from the standard games that realistically they wouldn't choose those, partially so they could set up a sequel, but also because they want to be a representation of the Zelda games as a whole. In Twilight Princess, I mean, they made such a big deal about Zelda being cast, but in Twilight Princess, Zelda has, 2 minutes of screen time?
Not, like... I haven't played Twilight Princess, so I wouldn't be able to know.
Yeah, but in addition to that, also just, again, it's very different from the other games.
Right.
And that also, I imagine they would want to cut it back on the budget, so they wouldn't do the whole Link constantly turning into a wolf thing.
Yeah. I don't think that would work for a movie.
Oh no, it could, but it would take a really big budget. And so, my tooth. Oh, and also no Majora's Mask for the same reason. It's just very different from the standard one. And Zelda isn't even in that game, other than one cutscene at the start. So, my thoughts here are Ocarina of Time or Breath of the Wild. And there's two reasons for this. Starting with Ocarina, because I think that's the smart choice. It's the start of the series, timeline-wise. It has a simple-to-follow story of just Link is told by the Great Deku Tree to go and find Zelda. Zelda tasks him with finding 3 gems. when he gets back, Zelda's been captured, so he uses them to get the Master Sword, is sent 7 years in the future with an adult body. He has to save the sages so that they can, so that he can face Ganondorf. Pretty simple.
Yep.
And it's already been adapted in the Legend of Zelda manga, so they already have a template that they can use for adapting it to a non-video game story, and I think that the manga was pretty good.
Yeah.
And of course, when it comes to iconic Legend of Zelda games, Ocarina is number 1, with Majora's Mask being the second one. But of course, like I mentioned, it's too different from the other games to be the basis for the adaptation.
Right.
And of course, Breath of the Wild, primarily because of recency bias, but also a lot of people who got into the Zelda franchise with Breath of the Wild.
One of those people being me.
Yeah. For me, it was Twilight Princess. But yeah, so it's mostly the recency bias, but also it's a simple story. But the key problem with it being Breath of the Wild is, what would they put in it?
That is a good question. What in the
Yeah,
world would they put into that?
Yeah, because that's the problem with trying to adapt such a big game where pretty much everything is optional. Now, let's assume the basics of, they aren't going to be doing a speed run, and it's not an any percent run, so they're going to try to get the major story points. Beyond that, are they going to go for all 4 divine beasts? Are they going to go for all of Link's memories? Beyond that, are we going to go with introducing the characters? And which characters? Just the major ones that'll be important in later adaptations of the game? Or are we going, or beyond that, would we just cut out the entire sequence of the Great Plateau? Because I mean, it's basically a tutorial sequence for the game, but it gives you massively important story to set up everything.
Yeah, I feel like an adaptation of Breath of the Wild would be rather problematic.
Yeah, because genuinely speaking, I think I could plan one out, and maybe even stay in budget. But it would be like a 6 or 7 hour movie.
Hey, at least it wouldn't be like Andy Warhol's Empire.
Oh, you mean the massively long movie that was just a picture of a chair?
No, the movie that was just a picture of the Empire State Building.
Oh, right. Yeah, but genuinely speaking, okay, let me think. How could I do this? Okay, for starters, have to open it with Link waking up in the revival temple. He goes out, get the epic shot of the world. He meets the old man. Yeah, the old man tells him, okay, find 4 temples and find them. And then we get kind of like a brief montage sequence of him going through the temples, getting the new abilities. But honestly, I think I might cut out the abilities with the bombs just because that seems a little too overpowered.
Yeah.
And then him getting the paraglider, and we get the exposition from the old man. He goes down from the Great Plateau, and then we get the exposition from the village with the old lady. We meet Purah because she'll be important in the sequel if they make a sequel. Then we'll say they go for the Divine Beasts. We might be able to fit in a plot line about Link having to go against the Yiga clan, but not all of the plot around the Yiga clan, just the major points. Then we'll probably have Link getting back his memories throughout the game throughout the movie, rather than actually seeking them out. But we'll have and of course at the end we'll have him get the Master Sword, and once he gets the Master Sword, we'll get the final points of the major memories, and then have him go to face Ganon, where we'll get one last memory before he fights Ganon and finally saves Zelda, where at the end, just before the credits roll, we get Zelda's finishing line from the game, "Do you remember who I am?" I think that's probably the only real way that that you could get enough out of the movie to feel kind of like the game.
That would be interesting.
But of course, I do think Ocarina would be the way to go.
I kind of think that Ocarina would be the way to go as well.
Yeah. Yeah, because genuinely, Ocarina of Time mixed with some references to other games throughout the series, like like I mentioned, an old man, giving Link a sword, saying it's too dangerous to go alone. Take this.
Yeah.
And some references to other points throughout the series as the games go on. We can even fit in some Breath of the Wild references.
Yeah. That would be interesting. Of course, I will have to eventually finish Ocarina of Time, but it's going to take a long time because I don't play it much.
Have you tried playing the Song of Time? See if that would help.
The Song of Time. The Song of Time.
It's a song. No, it's a song you play on the ocarina. It makes. Yeah, it was a joke.
Oh, I didn't get that.
Yeah, in Majora's Mask, it takes you back to the start of this 3-day cycle. The game features.
Oh
three.
yeah, I get it. I would have used that, but I don't know how to play an ocarina, so.
Then there's the Song of Inverted Time, which makes time pass by half as fast.
Right. But yeah, as I said, I would have played the Song of Time, but I don't know how to play an ocarina, and I don't know where my sister's ocarina is right now, so.
Yeah, but so on that note, what are you thinking the Legend of Zelda live action will be like? Is it going to be good? Going to be bad? Going to be meh? Going to be an atrocity?
I don't think. I think it might just be a meh type of map, kind of like how the new Super Mario Brothers movie was.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Critics, but it sat really well with audiences. So
yeah, because generally speaking,
something like that.
Yeah, because genuinely speaking, I don't care about critics' scores. For me, there are two metrics that I use to base my opinion on if a movie succeeded or not: audience score and the opinions of a handful of people. The YouTube reviewers, specifically my go-to people, are Disparu, Nerdrotic, and okay, don't laugh, but the third guy's channel's name is Heel versus Babyface.
Okay, that's actually a pretty decent name.
Yeah, there's also the Nerdrotic Daily Podcast, but these guys are all on it usually, and there's a bunch of other people in there as well. But generally speaking, I find both that their opinions, generally align with my own. Like I remember I went to see Jurassic Park Rebirth, and not only did they agree with me that the movie was really boring, but my main guy Disparu said the exact thing that I said the entire movie about the plot. That you see in Jurassic Park Rebirth. Do you mind spoilers real quick, or have you seen it?
I don't mind spoilers, honestly.
Okay. You see, the plot of the movie is basically they have to go. There's all of the dinosaurs are dying except for dinosaurs on this one island because it's close to the equator where there's more oxygen, which is just completely wrong. More oxygen is located at the poles, not the equator. And this CEO guy is looking to get DNA from the three biggest dinosaurs of the land, sea, and air, so he can use their blood to make a heart medication to cure all heart disease. So they're going to the island, and while they're there, there's this family of three people and the daughter's boyfriend who are there, sailing on the sea when their boat gets tipped by a mosasaurus because apparently they were too dumb to realize that mosasaurus are still in the water. They save them, but then the mosasaurus start attacking the boat with a spinosaurus, and you see, these boats they're currently in massively illegal waters because all countries on the world agree that no one should be allowed near the dinosaur island.
Right.
You know you're in a bad spot when America, North Korea, China, and Russia all agree that you shouldn't be allowed to go into a place.
Yeah.
This is worse than that island that's just full of snakes.
Yeah. Off the coast of Rio, Brazil.
Yeah, I think off the coast of Brazil. But you see,
Oh,
genuinely,
God.
this is one of those cases where the crime would probably get you put in front of a firing squad. And so while they're trying not to get sunk by the Mosasaurus, their main security guy dies instantly because, of course. But the father of the girls, the dumb one that brought them into the ocean where Mosasaurus were, tells the oldest daughter, go to the phone on the boat, call for help. And the CEO guy tries to stop her because, again, massively illegal waters. If you get caught here, you're going to get put in front of a firing squad. And that's the best case scenario. But yeah, during the struggle, she pushes him. They both fall over. He falls backwards onto the boat. She falls over the edge and is caught hanging on. He's still on the ground. She slips and falls into the water. They all get separated, but she survives. And then for the rest of the movie, she says that he was trying to kill her. And then at the end of the movie, they just act like he actually tried to kill her. And we're supposed to, be mad. And we're supposed to, be happy about the fact that he dies at the end of the movie because, well, two reasons. The first one being the girl says he tried to kill her, so we're supposed to not trust our lying eyes and believe her. And two, there was a thing that came up halfway through the movie where it was just, hey, let's not give him the blood of these dinosaurs so that we can put the blood on the internet so that people can make the medicine themselves so that they don't have to pay companies to make the medicine because corporations bad. Which, first off, three things. One, they still have to do the research and development to make the medicine. Two, you really think it's a good idea to give people just the base information on how to make a medication and post it on the internet so that people can make the medication and just jam it into their veins?
If done wrong, that could kill you.
No, this is Jurassic Park. If done wrong, this could turn you into a human-dinosaur hybrid that goes insane and tries to take over the world. And also third.
What?
Hey, the entire movie doesn't even have real dinosaurs. They have hybrid dinosaurs that were apparently experimentations. Okay, and my third reason. Okay, so this guy is using his money to both fund the entire expedition, pay for all of these people to go throughout the entire throughout the island to do all the things, funding their equipment, funding everything, being the one who's responsible for their escape off the island. And they're deciding to screw him over because he would be making a profit off of the potential world life-saving medicine that he's trying to develop here. That he himself has elected to go on the expedition to make sure that it goes properly. And he's a bad guy because he's going to charge money for the medicine.
That's it.
Yeah, genuinely speaking, this movie sucked. They were kind of just basing the chance of success off this movie off of one, the name Jurassic Park, and two, the fact that they casted Scarlett Johansson as the lead.
Well, spoiler alert, it didn't work.
It actually did. Jurassic Park, Rebirth outsold Fantastic Four First Steps. And another one of those movies that Hollywood was acting like it was very important, when in reality, it's just another mediocre movie that got outsold by the dinosaur movie. And then the critics got mad that the dinosaur movie outperformed them and decided to blame the audiences for being too stupid to watch the important stuff.
You know, this kind of reminds me of. It kind of reminds me of 28 Years Later.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's like the opposite. Critics like it, audiences hate it.
Yeah.
Where do I stand? I'm on the positive spectrum. Because if I'm being serious, I really did enjoy Years. I did notice there were some inconsistencies with the infection, but
Yeah.
but I was able to get past those inconsistencies and just somehow enjoy the movie because, like, it was intense. It was scary.
It's none of your business.
It was actually
Don't fucking like
it was actually memorable for something in comparison to Weeks.
said some shit on
Like,
Facebook that I
as far as I know, I remember Spike
like very
more than
hard to say because I get the
I
frustration.
remember Dawn and
Let's not
Andy.
get mad because she doesn't qualify for food stamps.
Dawn is just the dumbass who got himself infected.
In town get them when they're gonna OD and die anyway. Why would you say that?
Agreed.
Like
Like,
it,
why would you say that?
it's like people are gonna say that the Years is the worst, but really, Weeks is the one that made the dumbest military in movie history.
Admittedly, though, they do have the defense of it was the British military.
Well, not just that, it was also American-led forces from NATO.
True. Yeah. I mean, we do basically fund all of NATO, but
But
yeah.
still, it's like the only good part I remember of Weeks is the introduction, and that,
and of course the ending where they show France getting overtaken by zombies. I did like that.
yeah. Well, technically, they're not zombies; they're infected.
Who knows?
But
Maybe it's just one of those cases where they're in a universe where there are no zombie movies.
well, according to 28 Years Later, apparently there is such a thing as zombies.
Oh, so
Because one of the characters refers to an uninfected baby as a fucking zombie baby.
okay.
And mind you,
Everyone in this group chat
in
is
this world,
8 now.
Britain is the only one that's infected.
More than 9 or 8.
I mean, that makes sense.
Not
It is
everywhere
Britain.
else. Like,
I mean, it makes
like-
sense.
like, yes, the infection managed to reach Paris, but NATO was forced to blow Paris. Just level it.
I like this movie a lot more now.
Yeah. Because, like, the intro of Years is actually kind of scary. But
How could
it
it be scary?
shows,
It's a world
it
without
tells
France.
you what happened 28 years later.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know. It's just, I really like that movie more than I like Weeks, but I don't like it as much as I like Days.
Okay, hear me out here, though. Does 28 Years Later have a scene where a guy mows down an entire field full of zombies with a helicopter?
No.
I rest my case.
7 pounds 6 ounces.
Instead, one highlight is, okay, do you care about spoilers?
I wasn't going to watch it anyway. Go ahead.
Okay. One highlight that I would say is, it's one that almost made me cry. And
Okay.
it was where Isla basically accepted her fate.
Okay.
Because, like, in one of the key moments of the movie, they finally come across Dr. Ian Kelson, who is played by Ralph Fiennes, or Voldemort.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And he basically comes to the conclusion that she's suffering from terminal cancer. And Spike is so desperate on trying to help her get better, like trying to come up with a way to, like, go further into the mainland to search for medicine, when in reality that she would have more than likely been gone already. So they decide to put Spike to sleep for a bit, and Isla basically euthanizes herself.
Okay.
And it's just so tragic because, like, she's such a good character, and Spike is a good character too. And now he has to go through this entire hostile world all by himself.
Okay.
It's just so sad when you think about it.
Okay, and this is probably going to make me sound horrible for saying this after after hearing all that, but the thing that I think really shows a zombie movie at its peak is the most iconic kill of a zombie in the movie. Like here, some of my favorite examples. The amusement park scene in Zombieland, both with Tallahassee going on a killing spree and Columbus with the mallet against the zombie clown, or in Dead Snow, the fight scene where at the end where the two guys are going against the horde of zombies on their own. Then Vagar comes in on a snowmobile, drives over one after mowing down a horde with a machine gun, and then gets into a knife fight with one where he manages to disarm it, and then stick its hand into the treads of his snowmobile, and then just revs the engine, pulling it into the treads until it shreds it. Or,
Wow.
of course, my all-time favorite, the movie Brain Dead, or Dead Alive, depending on the country, where a guy's girlfriend is in the middle of a room full of zombies, and he just kicks open the door with a lawnmower strapped to his chest and just says, "Party's over," and then turns on the lawnmower and just walks through the room.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Oh, there's also a scene where a priest starts using kung fu and fights 3 zombies at once. But given that he loses the fight in the end, I don't think it's fair to say that it's fair to give him the kill record here. Even though it was cool, at one point he rips the zombie's arm off and then grabs its other arm, pulls it down, kicks it in the face, props his leg up on the arm that he grabbed, and then just from that prop position starts repeatedly kicking it in the face like this. And then he rips its arm off and then goes for a leg sweep, and it just kicks both of its legs off and then kicks its head into the air. But then he grabs another zombie, puts it in an arm lock, throws it face first through a gravestone. But then the zombie head that was spinning in the air falls down and bites him on the neck.
Oh, no.
And then in his rage, he goes for a flying sidekick against the last zombie that just redirects him in midair, causing him to get impaled through the chest on a statue.
Huh. Cool. Well, I'll say this about 28 years later. There's really no best kill.
Is that because there's no particularly good kills, or they're all too good to say one's better than the other?
I would say it's more the latter because, like, some people are going to say otherwise, but I think that the kills are pretty cool.
Okay, give me an example.
Like, okay, during a chase scene, the father, Jamie, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, gets one of the infected in the chest area, and it's like the camera changes from behind them to their side because it's using a rig of 20 iPhone 15 Maxes.
Okay.
They do this kind of technique a few times throughout the movie, so it's not like not all the time, but it does.
Okay,
it's like a poor man's bullet camera.
Okay, so so he just shoots a zombie in the chest, but the camera angle makes it look cool.
Yes.
Okay, so are there any fun, inventive, or unique kills, or is it just that for the entire movie?
I think my favorite one is one where Spike and Isla go into a gas station, and then a soldier pulls them out, and then the gas station blows up after it fills up with infected. because
Oh,
it's filled
okay.
with a highly explosive gas.
Okay. It's
Not really that cool, but I don't know.
okay. So it's okay. So it felt. Geez, this seems more like a drama movie that has zombies than a zombie movie that has drama.
Yeah, but
I mean, usually I'm willing to get. And the worst part is, for zombie movies that are supposed to happen outside of America, I expect them to get creative with the kills because in America, you know, it's our stereotype. We have guns, but
yeah,
in in the UK, they're supposed in countries like England, they're supposed to get more creative or have improvised weapons or stuff like that.
yeah. Honestly, I think the best kills come from the end,
Okay.
in which Spike comes across a group of people who just go all out ham on the infected. Like they do like gymnastics with all kinds of weaponry and stuff. And little twist, the leader of the group is actually the kid from the beginning of the movie.
Really?
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of the best kill part. But I don't know. I think the movie had really good character development.
Okay.
And although the story isn't necessarily as well told as Days,
Or weeks.
I do think it's a decent story worth telling.
Okay.
I like this comic.
I won't give my I won't and that for the viewers, I won't be giving an opinion on this movie since I haven't actually watched it. But it seems to be yeah, mostly like they were trying to just make a zombie movie in the same universe, but they didn't keep the things that made the first or second ones interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the first one was the classic tale of this is what happened. What would happen to what would you do if you suddenly woke up in a completely different world full of monsters, that can turn you into one of them, with effortlessly. The second one, was in the same place, but but explored both a mix of grief at not being able to protect people in that world, but also the the idea of but also amped up the violence extremely. Because they knew they couldn't compete with the story of the first one or the acting because Christopher Eccleston was only in the first one.
Or well,
But they knew for a fact that a little bit of improvement of the of the violence and creativity there would be a massive improvement. Like, of course, the helicopter scene.
yeah.
And beyond that, the third one, well, you said it all.
Yeah, I have, but I still think that despite all its problems and whatnot, I do think that it's at least somewhat worth watching. I mean,
Yeah.
the second half kind of focuses more on the son and mother instead of the father and son.
Yeah. Although I do like the family dynamics, aspect there that you mentioned, because most movies these days have been kind of taking away from that idea, especially the paternal side of things. So it's nice that they included it.
Anyway, we've been recording for almost 2 hours.
Oh yeah, we're actually just 1 minute from there. So yeah, 2 hours is probably a good place to call it here then. So, any final remarks before we end this? Before we end this.
Nope.
Okay then. Okay, so same original planned time for streaming next on Sunday.
Yep.
I'm not Adam West. Okay, so yeah. Now on that note, thank you for watching. This has been the show with no name. See you again next time. Goodbye.